Hello everyone, I'm Alejandro. Today I'm going to present you some of our informative speech, which is based on global ecological print. We have decided to divide this presentation into two parts, so I will be explaining the first part and my partner Rachel the second. We hope that with this information everyone can understand the importance of taking care of our environment. Okay, so first of all, what is ecological footprint? We can notice that it's an indicator which measures how much demand human consumption places on the biosphere. In other words, we can say that it's the quantity of nature it takes to support people or an economy. In this slide, we have a small diagram that represents how fast we consume our basic resources, and I'm going to explain to you from left to right. For example, the first category is the carbon footprint, and it's all the gas emissions, so it is all the energy that is consumed in the world. On the other hand, there is the built up land category, and this is what we use to make settlements of buildings. We also have our next category, which is the forest, from which we obtain everything that is wood and leaf from the trees. Our next category is cropland and pasture, from which we obtain food and fibers. And finally, the fisheries category, from which we obtain all the products from the sea. Okay, here we have a map representing the total ecological footprint in the world. As you may notice, the highest ecological footprint appears on the most powerful nations, cause since there's a lot of population, they tend to consume more than expected. Now we have a ranking of countries with the highest ecological footprint measured in global hectares. I'm going to explain to you from higher to lower, starting with the three higher that are China, USA, and India, which have billions of ecological footprint. On the position number 4, we have the Russian Federation. Position number 5, we have Brazil. Position number 6, we have Japan. Position number 7, we have Indonesia. Position number 8, we have Germany. And position number 9, we have Mexico. We can also notice that the three higher countries are part of the most powerful nations in the world, as I mentioned in the last slide. Okay, here we have two categories. The first one is the ecological footprint per person. And it tells us that nowadays people tend to consume more products and more stuff than expected. Also, it tells us that if any nation were ecological footprint divided, people will have the capacity to generate 1.7 global hectares, but we are really consuming 6 hectares. So it means that we consume 4 times more than expected. Also, it means that the citizens in those cities who tend to consume more are demanding 4 times the resources and wastes that our planet in that zone can regenerate and absorb in that atmosphere.
Now we have the ecological footprint per person map. As we can see, Mexico is in a medium place, which means it's not in danger yet, but if we see China here, it is in the second light color. So this which means they still having enough resources to afford the way they are wasting the resources. But for example, in United States, we have darkest color, which means they are running out the resources and using more than they can. Now, we have countries ranked by ecological footprint per person. The first one is Qatar with 14.4 hectares, which means they are using lots of the resources. Maybe because Qatar is one of the smallest countries in the world, which means they don't have space enough to regenerate their resources and still using it as they already do. Followed by Luxembourg, another smallest country, then United Arab Emirates. So as you know, United Arab Emirates, most of them is desert, so probably that's another factor that they are not regenerating their resources. Then it's Bahrain, Kuwait, Trinidad and Tobago, United States of America, Canada, and Mongolia. Well, about the three last countries, we know they already have a big space to regenerate. So we have to think they are not using it, or there is full with companies, or full with houses or something.
Here we have our next category, which is ecological deficit and ecological reserve. The difference between the biocapacity and ecological footprint of a region or country. An ecological deficit occurs when the footprint of a population exceeds the biocapacity of the area available to that population. Conversely, an ecological reserve exists when the biocapacity of a region exceeds its population's footprint. If there is a regional or national ecological deficit, it means that the region is importing biocapacity through trade or liquidating regional ecological assets. In contrast, the global ecological deficit cannot be compensated through trade and is therefore equal to ecological overshoot.
To explain this much better, we have a map. As you can see on the map, there's two colors on it, green and red, which means red is because those countries doesn't have a reserve, or it's not enough to support the way they are using the resources. It's a deficit. On the other hand, we have the green color, which means those countries still having a reserve, or they are not using the resources in the way they can't afford it. So we have a darkest color and a lighter color. So the darkest is because they are still having enough reserve, and the lighter is because they are already running out their reserve. So in any moment they can lose the reserve. The same happens with the countries with red. Now, on these tables, you're gonna see countries with biocapacity reserve, which the first one is French Guinea, Suriname, Guyana, Gabon, Congo, Central African Republic, Uruguay, Bolivia, Democratic Republic of Congo, Paraguay, and Eritrea. On the other side, we have countries with biocapacity deficit. The first one is Singapore, Bermuda, Reunion, Barbados, Cayman Islands, Israel, Bahrain, United Arab Emirates, Saudi Arabia, Kuwait, and Qatar. Now I'll give you an example with Mexico. Per person, we should be using 1.3 hectares, but instead of that, we are using per person 3 hectares, which means we have a biocapacity deficit of 1.7 hectares, and this number is increasing per year. So, as a conclusion, when Alex and I saw all this information, we were shocked, but this at the same time showed us or allowed us to think about how we can reduce our footprint and be more conscious about what we are doing day by day and how we can change our habits to contribute in a better way to the nature. Thank you for your attention.